Hello friends, welcome to the Spice Route. So today we are coming up with a very traditional Tamil Tanjavur recipe, which is Arachuvitta more Kuzhambu. It's otherwise in Hindi we call it the Kadhi, but it's a very traditional South Indian Tamil and some parts of Kerala recipe. And this is how we do it in our house. So I'm just going to make it that way. The ingredients are: we have some yogurt that we mixed up with water to bring it to a little bit of a thin consistency. Think of it like a slightly thick milk. We're making today's more Kuzhambu with potatoes. So we have some boiled, and I just kind of broke it apart into a few pieces. That's the potatoes. Now, the more Kuzhambu is typically made with a mixture that is ground. We don't need to roast or anything here. It is. I'll show you how that is done, but the necessary items for that are tuar dal, right, or thoram barupu in Tamil. Tuar dal, about 2 teaspoons of tuar dal. We have about 1.5 teaspoons of coriander seeds or dhania. We have some curry leaves, which I'm going to split partially into the grind mixture and partially for the tempering. We have some peppercorn, about half a teaspoon. Less than a quarter teaspoon of methi seeds or fenugreek seeds, about half a teaspoon of jeera, 3/4 of a teaspoon of jeera, 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons of raw rice. What we are going to do to begin with, okay, so I'm sorry, but there are other ingredients. We have the jeera for tempering, we have the mustard seeds for tempering, we have some peppercorns for tempering again, and we have the coconut that's going to be used for grinding as well. Very first thing that we're going to do is, with the exception of the curry leaves and the red and green chilies, we're going to basically dunk all of this in water. And what we're going to do is we're going to let it soak there for about 20 minutes or so. And after that, we're going to grind that along with the other ingredients into a fine paste. We leave out, as I said, the curry leaves. We leave out the red and green chilies, and we leave out the coconut. We will be taking some of these curry leaves out for tempering, and the rest of it will be used for grinding. And we will add everything into this and grind it. In 20 minutes, we will start the process. It's very quick and extremely tasty. Alright friends, so whatever I had soaked, I left it for about 20 minutes. I added a little bit of water, added all the coconut, rest of the things that I told earlier, and all of that is now ground into a paste. Alright, so what I have here is a pan. Notice that I have not lit the gas on. I'm going to first add all of the buttermilk in there, or the yogurt, mix it up really well, and add all of that. And I'm then going to add all of my ground mixture as well into it. And there's a reason why I'm not boiling it without the ground mixture, because the buttermilk will then tend to probably curdle up a little bit. Alright, so I'm just adding, I cleaned up the mixie jar. I'm adding some of that water in here so that it'll feel thin, but it'll thicken up because of all the good stuff that we have in there. At this point, I start the gas at medium. Notice that I'm not keeping this at high. And what I would do with this now is mix it up really well. Normally in other kinds of more Kuzhambu, if it is made with okra or anything, you should fry the vegetable, add the buttermilk to it, then add this mixture and then start mixing it. We are making this with potato, so we're not adding any of that right now. We're just going to boil this for one boil. That's it. That's all we need. What we're going to do right now is, like I told you, this is a very easy recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add big pieces of potato in it. It's not going to be like super small pieces. It's bigger pieces because that's the taste for more Kuzhambu. And just add those pieces in there, and we will probably save some of this for, we don't need as many potatoes, so we're going to save some of these for later. And kids would obviously love potatoes. As a kid in my younger days, the favorite morkorambu used to be made with either lady's finger okra, right, or with potatoes, and these were the best. What we're going to do now is let this boil before we add the salt to it, because I have not yet added the salt. I'm going to let this boil for about 5 minutes before adding the salt into it. Alright, so what we have done here is we've gotten, if you notice, it's starting to get a rolling boil. Right at this point, I add the salt. I'm going to add to this amount, I'm going to add about 2.5 spoons, which is 5 of these small ones. Please remember that. A lot of people have asked me to start using better measurement. I will once the quarantine is over, because then I can actually get measurable spoons and all of that. You now have here a boil that it has almost come to, right? I've added the salt. I'm going to reduce the flame a little bit. I did move it to high to get a boil. I'm moving it back to medium, right? And then there's a couple of tricks to making really good morkorambu. One of those is, what I have here is oil, coconut oil. Morkorambu always has to be tempered in coconut oil. I forgot to mention this as part of my ingredients list, but the first thing that you do is add half a teaspoon or so of coconut oil directly into the morkorambu. The rest of it, we use it for tempering. But for now, this will simmer on for about not more than 10 minutes. I think in 10 minutes we should be good to go. So I'll see you in 10. Friends, if you look at the morkorambu itself, I just moved it to the other burner. It is done. It has been about 10 minutes in really low setting. I have the temperings ready here in the oil. I'm adding about half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, and to the mustard seeds, as soon as they splutter, I add about half a teaspoon of jeera, and the mustard seeds are almost spluttering right now. About half a teaspoon of jeera, and all I would do is take the curry leaves, and I am going to basically tear them up a little bit to release the aromas, and it starts spluttering up because of the moisture in the curry leaves. Just do that, and that's it. This is all that the tempering needs. Just go ahead and put it all in there. Take some of the morkorambu, right? And that's it. This is a very, very tasty morkorambu. Back at home, we would, my mother typically used to add turmeric to it to make it yellow, but we are not doing that. I'm actually going with my aunt's recipe here, who used to leave it as it is. Don't play around with the color. Because of the red chilies, it gets its own color anyways. So here you go, guys. Try it at home and enjoy. And please do subscribe, like, click the bell icon if you like the recipes. Thank you.